Okay, so today we're going to be finding the area and perimeter of composite rectangles. So a composite rectangle is where we have two rectangles put together with the separating line missing. So sometimes they're called L shapes or U's, but this is what we're looking at. So we're going to be finding both the perimeter and area of each of these. The most difficult part, in my opinion, is finding the missing side. So if you notice, each one has missing sides, and you need to use the side lengths that are available to figure out those missing sides. So I am going to use a couple highlighters to help show you this. If you want to get two colors to use, you can do that. So starting with perimeter, there's no perimeter formula for these since we are literally just adding all of the sides together. So we first need to have all of the side lengths figured out. So I know this long side here is 10, and I know this side here is 7, but I'm missing this side. So if you notice, I identified all of the sides that are parallel to one another. So since these three sides are parallel, I know if I were to add this side plus this side, I would get this side length. Does that make sense? So whatever this is plus the 7 would give me the 10. Sometimes it helps people to visualize if I pushed this side down, it would meet right here. And then this plus this would be 10. So what plus 7 is 10? Well, I know that would be 3. So I'm going to put 3 meters. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the other sides. So I have 5 meters and 4 meters, but I don't know this whole side here. But I know that this short side plus this distance here, which is this, right? 5 plus 4 is going to give me 9 meters. So now if I go around the circle, I notice I have each side length determined. My perimeter, I'm going to write P equals, and I'm going to write out all of the sides that I'm adding together. The reason I'm doing this is if you get a question wrong, you might not know what you did wrong unless you can see all of the side lengths that you added together. So I'm going to start with the top, and I'm going to go clockwise, okay? So I have 10 plus 9 plus 7 plus 4 plus 3 plus 5. The reason I go clockwise is it helps me stay organized. If I just jumped around the shape and added them all up, I might miss one. So I'm going to count my sides and make sure I didn't miss anything. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm good. So I'm going to get my calculator. 10 plus 9 plus 7 plus 4 plus 3 plus 5. And I get P is equal to 38 meters. Okay, moving on to area. There are two approaches to area. I'm going to show you both of them, all right? So I'm going to separate this into two, and then you can determine which you prefer. I know that area is length times width of a rectangle, but the problem is this is not a perfect rectangle, right? So I can either cut my rectangle. I can cut it that direction to make two rectangles. I can cut it this direction to make two rectangles. Okay, that's one option. So I'm going to follow through with that option. This I'm going to call shape 1, and this shape 2. So the area of shape 1, area equals length times width, area equals 5 times 3, area equals 15 meters squared. Now we need to remember that that is the area of the first rectangle. Shape 2. area equals length times width, area equals 9 times 7, area equals 63 meters squared. Now that I have both areas, I need to add them together. So I have 15 plus 63, and that gives me 78. So 78 meters squared would be the total area. Now I'm going to show you one other way that you could do this, and you're going to need to ignore the 1, 2, and the dotted line here. So another way you can do this is imagine that this is one big rectangle, and I'm going to cut this piece out. Just like if I had a big cake and I'm cutting this piece out of the cake. All right? So I'm going to call the big rectangle big. Okay? That way I don't get confused with my 1 and 2. So the big one, A is equal to length times width. A is equal to, the big length is 10. The big width is 9. So 10 times 9, and A is equal to 90 meters squared. Now I have to subtract, remember, my small rectangle from it. So I have A equals length times width, A equals 4 times 3, A equals 12 meters squared. Now, I'm not adding like I did last time, I'm subtracting because I'm cutting this piece out of the cake. So 90 minus 12, and I get 78 meters squared, which is the same thing I got the first time. All right? Okay, now that I showed you both options, I'm going to kind of mix it up with the other two, and I won't take quite as long. Here we go. Number 2, I'm going to first identify my missing sides. So I have 18, 10, and this one's missing. Well, what plus 10 gives me 18? Another way I could think of it is 18 minus 10 is what? So 18 minus 10 is 8, so I know that this is 8 inches. Now, my other sides, I have, this is 14, this is missing, and this is 6. 6 plus what gives me 14? 6 plus 8 gives me 14. Now that I have both of my missing sides, I can find my perimeter. So P equals, I'm going to start on the top, and I'm going to go clockwise. 18 plus 6 plus 10 plus 8 plus 8 plus 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I have 6 here. So P is equal to, I'm going to add them all up, 18 plus 6 plus 10 plus 8 plus 8 plus 14, and I get 64. 64 inches. Remember, perimeter is not squared because it's just the distance around my shape. Now I'm looking at area. So I have, I can use one of my two options. All right. For this one, I'm going to cut my shape in two. So I'm going to go and cut it this way. It really doesn't matter if you do it vertically or horizontally. So I'm going to do shape 1 and shape 2. So 1, A equals length times width. A equals length is 14, width is 8. A equals 14 times 8 is 112. and I'll put inches squared. My second shape, A equals length times width. A equals, I'm going to look here, and my length of shape 2 is 10. My length of shape, or sorry, not my length, my width is 6. So 10 times 6, A equals 60 inches squared. Now since I didn't add on to the area at all, I just cut it in half, I'm going to be adding these two areas together. Right? So I'm going to do 112 plus 60, and I get A is equal to 172 inches squared. And that would be my answer. Okay, moving on to the last one, number 3. This one's a U shape. I'm going to approach it the same way though. So I have 20 here, I have 6 here, and then these are both missing, but that little mark means that they are the same length, all right? And so I know that 1, 2, 3 are going to add up to 20. So I'm going to do it this way. 20 minus 6. 20 minus 6 is 14, all right? So I'm going to show you this too on the calculator. 20 minus 6 is 14. I'm going to divide that by 2 because I have 2 equal parts that are sharing the distance of 14 inches. And so when I divide by 2, I know that each one is 7 inches. Now I can confirm this. I can do 7 plus 6 plus 7, and that's going to give me my 20. All right, now I have 15, something that's missing, 10, and something that's missing. This one's much easier because these sides are the same, so I know this is 15 inches, and these sides are the same, and so I know this is 10 inches, and I'm done. So let's go ahead and find the perimeter. Perimeter equals, again, I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going to work clockwise around my U. So 7 plus 10 plus 6 plus 10 plus 7 plus 15 plus 20 plus 15. Whew, that's a lot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm going to look here and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm good. So I'm going to add all these up. 7 plus 10 plus 6, 10, 7, 15, 20, and 15. And I get P is equal to 90 inches. All right, now I'm going to find my area. And when I find my area, I'm going to make my shape larger and cut out a piece of the cake. All right. So I'm going to do my big. Area equals length times width. Area equals, the big is 20 times 15. A equals 20 times 15 is 300 inches squared. Now I'm going to do my small. A equals length times width. A equals, my length is 10, my width is 6. Remember, it's of the small piece of cake we're cutting out. A equals 60 inches squared. So my last step, because I'm cutting out a piece of the shape, a piece of the cake, I'm doing 300 minus 60. And when I do 300 minus 60, that gives me 240 inches squared. I am finished. If you have any questions, just let me know.